Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching from my home office here on a Friday. It is the 16th of March, episode number 71. This one's really big. I apologize. I didn't get this out last night. I had too many things going on, and it was going to come to you a little bit too late. So I felt like just getting a chance to take this to you this morning. So the big question is to buy a franchise or not? And is your business, would it be possible to convert your business to a franchise operation if you already have an existing book of business operations, name recognition, whatever that happens to be in the first place? So what would be the benefits to having your business be a franchise, buy a franchise, or invest into a franchise? Well, there's several pros and cons to it when you really think about it. One of the primary things most people are not aware of. Now let's start with the cons and then we'll go to the pros. One of the cons is you never own the business. You lease the name. So the big thing is people go in and say, well, I'm going to be this and that, a McDonald's, a Burger King, a U.S. Lawns, a ChemDry, a ServPro in the restoration businesses. That'll be great. It'll help my business springboard. And there is some truth to that. There used to be more truth to it. Today it's a little less needed because there's so many independents and the internet has opened up the playing field quite a bit, but there are benefits to both sides. One, again, of the negatives is you're leasing the name. So if you stop wanting to be part of that franchise, you don't want to pay those fees, you don't want to be involved in that structure, you want to kind of go your own path, so to speak, then a franchise can be very difficult because you don't own it. And you usually surrender the customer list and everything you pretty much have along with it when you sell the business or terminate your relationship with the franchisor. So your book of business, everything you have during that is part of that. Now you can negotiate at the very beginning and say, listen, I have these relationships going into this and I want to maintain them. They are my relationships. They aren't part of the franchisor's relationship pattern. And you may get some traction when it comes to that, but that can be very difficult to do. Usually when you convert to a franchise, they want you all or nothing committed to their systems. And there are, again, some benefits and negative benefits to it. You're losing your independence when you go a franchise route. Some people like being led by the hand. It used to be more popular years ago. Now with a bunch of industry forums out there, a lot of open exchange of information between different businesses that are usually non-competing, kind of opens up the door quite a bit to not having to have a franchise, not needing to be a franchise, not involving yourself in that. So there is some open playing fields today. It's not. Used to be that's how you got the work. Yeah, franchise is the best way to go. It was a quote unquote business in a box, and you were able to retain it. One of the other things that's a positive to it is, or a negative, depending on it, is just policies and procedures in place for things to be done. Now, you may not like the way certain things need to get done, and that is very difficult to work with when you're in a franchise agreement. They have things in place of how they want things done, right down to how your employees handle themselves, dress, what you buy, where you buy your products from. You have to buy a lot of them from corporate. You have to buy a lot of them from different places. And that's vitally important to your success with a franchisor. You can't go out and say, I want to buy this particular chemical for cleaning or this particular distributor for food. You have to buy within their parameters. Now, some of them have a little flexibility. I've seen this more now than ever before. They say you have to buy your sauces if you're a restaurant from us. You have to buy your meat products from us. You have to buy certain things from us, but you could still go to your local wholesaler to get your foods and different things. So it has loosened up a little bit, but when it comes to the success they have, they don't want to mess with the recipes or whatever the case is. So if you're a pizza franchise, you're not going to be able to go out and buy your own sauce. You might be able to buy some of your own meats locally, things of that nature, but generally you're going to have to buy your dough, your sauce, and certain things from the corporate office, the franchisor's office. So keep that in mind. You may or may not like that. It really depends on the person you are. One of the advantages to a franchise, or lack of it, is they have some experience and success there. So one of the big things is If you have experience coming into it, you have your own systems and ways of doing something. They also likewise have their own ways, systems of doing things, and they want you to follow the flag. They want to follow you to follow what they've already built, the reputation they already have, and what really seems to work for franchisors across the country. So they have a system, again, a business in a box, of the way to do things. So that's a benefit to most people, because if you're going into an industry that you're not familiar with, let's just say you were a corporate executive for many years and you dealt with logistics, you dealt with distribution, you were dealing with companies in DC centers and where materials and where products for sale were going to and moving around and then selling to the retail customer, you're in logistics again. Big difference between that and being a pizza shop owner with a franchise. So if you were like, let's say, a Papa John's, which I happen to like personally, if out of all the franchise chains, I like them, but there are some new ones, Marco's, and some other ones I really finding very impressed with going down the road. You're not going to be able to have the experience, the know-how, unless you have an equity partner in the business, which is getting a piece of your business that understands how to run it. So that, for the most part, is where some of the things are limited to what you're going to do. So if you don't have any experience in making pizza, they'll teach you how to make pizza. You don't have to be a master chef. You don't have to be all that. They can teach you how to do it. When you get into some of the higher end franchises, yes, you have to have somebody there that's an equitable partner in the business that has experience in that particular thing. But you don't have to. They'll teach you. So that is an advantage. But if you already know how to make the pizza you want, it was your grandma's recipe, and that's what you want to do, going the franchise route might not necessarily be a great thing for you because you already have something that you feel is successful, that you feel will work, and it's different and it's unique, and you feel you can bring it to the customers and your clients a lot better than you need to hire an agency to help you brand that, to help coach you in that. You could do it that route. So that's more the independent route. Reputation. This one's big, and most people don't think about it. Years ago, when you bought a franchise business, reputations were relatively impeccable, or at least you never knew that the reputation was not impeccable because the internet didn't exist. So the internet is a clearinghouse for opinions and free and options. Sites like Yelp, especially if you're in the restaurant or food business, are really crucial. You can't deal with a bad Yelp review. It can really affect your business. If people see that your stars, you got 5 and you got 2 stars out of 5, you're going to really suffer from this. Your 3.5 stars, you're going to do better. If you're 5 stars, you're going to do fantastic. But we're in a review-based society today. So it levels the playing field. So it used to be you bought a franchise and somebody was, you got in, and as far as everybody knew, they were good. They had a good reputation, good systems in place, good structure. Everybody did the job right. And then you found out years later that not everybody does it right. I came for the franchising world, 17 years of it, as a matter of fact. And I can tell you there are good guys that do it right and care and are as good as they get. And there are guys that don't give a damn and bought it because they just wanted an easy, simple process, or they knew they were going to be an absentee owner in the first place in the business, and if it was allowable when they bought the franchise, they went that route. Those people don't have time or care if the business reputation is that good, because that's not their mindset. Their mindset is, I'm going to invest in this business, and if the business doesn't yield the return I want, I'm out. And that's their process. And those people don't care about necessarily the customer's opinion or what they think or the process. Now, I'm sure they don't go out of their way to do a bad job. I just don't think they're going out of their way to do a good job or a great job for that matter. So reputation can be, if you're part of a national franchise, it could be very helpful. There's no real doubt about it because they have the national reputation, and that parlays into something else. They have national relationships. So let's say you're in the restoration industry, what I'm real familiar with here. And every franchisor has national relationships when they're at a certain level. They just do. So if you want to work on vendor programs are what they call TPAs, or third-party administrators, where they refer work to you. Now, they have to refer work to everybody. That's part of the agreement. They can't have a monopoly. They can't just refer one to another. So they have to offer independents this too, but the independents don't tend to get as many shots at something as the national franchises do. That's just the way it is. So you want those relationships, those direct referrals. So the insurance companies have these TPAs basically accepting the phone calls on the behalf of their insured or their clients. They talk to the TPA or the independent party, and that person calls you or another company. Now when you have national relationships, let's just say you're a ServPro, a ServiceMaster, Paul Davis, any of those companies, you're going to get a lot of that work because you have relationships all over the country, maybe even all over the world in some degrees, with that franchisor and the insurance company. So the work is going to come consistently in from that. That's the way you're going to get it. The benefit is consistent work. The benefit is they're going to refer the work to you. The downside to it is they are going to control the situation. So if you're a person that goes, I don't agree with the way they want to do this job, I don't think the fire is being cleaned up correctly, I don't think the water damage is being cleaned up correctly, you're going to have an adversarial relationship with that adjuster, therefore having an adversarial relationship with your franchisor, or the insurance company having an adversarial relationship with your franchisor. So you're almost stuck doing what they say. It's not really independent because they're the ones that are actually calling you and hiring you. I often have to bring to customers that we deal with in New York that is a real situation, and they don't always have your best interest at heart. Some do. Some have the right on, I got these relationships, use my guys, I know I can secure the work, I know I have some control and care factor to it. But they're also working for them. Even though they say they're working for you, they're really not. They're working for the franchisor because that's the one that called them out, hired them to do the job. They're the one securing payment to them. They're securing a minimum of a certain amount of money to them for doing the work. Again, that's a positive because you get more of those opportunities. But the negative is you're under their care and control, which means you have to kind of follow the guidelines of the franchisor and insurance company relationship as it trickles down to the TPA person you deal with and you. So it can sound a little complicated if you're not used to something like this, but it is very, very important. The reputation was really a vital thing, but now we find out reputation years later isn't always being maintained. So this franchisor's reputation is tending to shrink a little bit, and there's a lot of people jumping off, and they have open exchange of information. They hire coaches and consultants like myself or like other people to come in and structure their business like a franchise built based on their name and their reputation, using the assets like I always talk about they already have, and then building their own thing up. So it's theirs at the end of the day. Yes, they're spending some significant investment up front to get that done, but it's theirs. They're not leasing the name, and in 10 years, they don't have to go, do I want to continue and lose all this, or do I have my own? Yes, they have their own. They might have an ongoing relationship with a coach or a consultant to help them. Most do, but it's still theirs at the end of the day. They're not being forced to have to re-up their franchise or do the things they need to. So again, we'll review. Some people like systems in a box. Some people also think about converting their current business to a franchise. One of the key reasons people do that is resale value. That was huge. That again has also shrunk down quite a bit. Usually when you bought one, you were able to resell your business for a higher dollar amount, significantly higher dollar amount down the road, because there was already operations, policies, procedures, systems, relationships already in place. So that person that came in and bought your business did not have to, again, come from that world. That person could be completely independent and say, I could buy this business in a box, and I've got training from the franchisee that I'm buying it from, plus I've got the support of the franchisor, and that's huge. And the resale value is significantly higher. No matter how you look at it, it's always significantly higher, because if you sell your business and you give that person 6 months and you decide to move to Haiti or to Spain, whatever you happen to want to do, your relationship with them is done. After that commitment is done, it's finished. That guy's on his own. And if he gets a question on month 7, you're not around and you're not available for consulting, then they're kind of on their own. When you buy a franchise, pick up the phone, they call. So there is that benefit to it. Again, systems in a box, relationships they already have, ease and convenience, better resale value. But cons to it is you're following it, you never own it, you lease it. You have to follow the guidelines that are set before you, or you will not maintain your relationship. You have to understand it, you're being kind of led by the hand and essentially being told what to do and how to do it and when to do it. So if you're really good with that, then great. A big market that they attract to now are military, because military veterans are known to get the job done and follow instructions and listen to the chain of command. So they do very well in the franchise world. That's why most military people, they do target, and they have a lot of military incentives for it, because they know the likelihood of success with a military veteran that understands all these principles will do extremely well. But if you're a creative entrepreneur, it can be difficult. And it can be very frustrating. So I hope I've given you some ups and downs. I've given you some pros and cons of why you should look into franchise, why you should consider converting a franchise, what you need to do as a bargaining chip ahead of time if you decide to go, and make sure that your own current level of business is yours no matter what at the end of the day. And then whatever comes afterwards with the franchise or franchisee relationship with a franchisor, that you understand that you'd be surrendering if you decide to give it up. So hopefully, again, I've given you a bunch of suggestions here for episode number 71 of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching from my home office. And I know it's a little bit of a longer one today, quite a bit longer than the normal 10 minutes, but there's a lot of information. We're going to get more into franchising information because I do have the background with it and understand a lot about it. And I'll hopefully be able to answer some questions. And again, please feel free to comment and post below here once this post is up. And we'll talk to you very soon with a brand new episode of 10-Minute Kick-Ass Coaching. Have a great day. Have an awesome Friday. Bye.